Welcome. I thought I'd give you a quick tour of Bill's Museum of Bible Stuff. Here's just kind of a quick overview of some of the major things that I've done, and I'll come back and I'll explain a lot of what's going on here. So let's head back over here to Jerusalem. So I produced a whole bunch of 3D maps of Jerusalem during different time periods, so you can see how the city grew. So we start off with David's Jerusalem here. Let me get another light on in here and see if I can make it look a little better. David's Jerusalem, and move from that. It expanded north under Solomon. These are all the exact same topographic background. Hezekiah expanded it greatly to the west. Nehemiah, we're not certain how much of the walls he rebuilt. What I did for this was I made I just kind of punched down the walls, Hezekiah's edition, so that you could see rubble. New Testament, it was greatly expanded. Herod, of course, did a lot of massive revisions, including what you see here with the Temple Mount. And then Crusader Jerusalem, you can see that moved, they didn't include the southern wall stuff and kind of scooted a lot of stuff north. And if you go to Jerusalem today and you're looking at the old city walls, they're built on top of the Crusader walls. Now, one thing that I've done is I made a map of Evangel University here. These things are basically about approximately 1 square mile. I made a map of Evangel University, the same scale, which is 1/4 of all this, so you can see there. You know, you got the your dorms there and stuff. You can see that David's Jerusalem. I mean, his palace is probably just on the north side of that wall there, but it was pretty small. You know, maybe a 1/4 mile north-south. And even Solomon's Jerusalem was not that big. Of course, a lot of these places, the fortresses are where people would go, you know, in times of war and that kind of thing, but it's not like everybody lived inside the walled city. I'm going to guess that when Hezekiah expanded west, there were already lots of houses and stuff out here, and, you know, maybe even governmental stuff, okay? There, I put the temple up there, and so we'll go back over here and look at some of this stuff. Now, I did make the Mount of Olives so that it could fit with any one of those maps, just so a person could see what's going on. Now, let me scoot around over here. What is this? How is this any different? It's a glow-in-the-dark version of Jerusalem. So that's, I'm sure, quite unique. Now here, what I've got is I'm doing some revisions right now because the valley here, let's see if you can see that valley. The valley on the left side, the Romans basically filled it in. So the topography that I was able to get from Iowa State University was not showing that really as a valley. And so all of the maps that I've shown you so far didn't show that, but I'll be making revisions on that stuff. Now here what I've got is a missionary asked me to do a larger version of Jerusalem. This is the same thing, but this is a lot larger. Jerusalem in during the time of Jesus' ministry. And so I'm going to go around here, so hopefully you can get a good idea of what this would have looked like. And the largest I can make a tile on my 3D printer is about, I don't know, 8 1/4, 8 1/2 inches square, something like that. So you can get sort of, you know, a bit of a nice view here as we go around, all the way around. Now the Temple Mount, here, I'll scoot back over here. The Temple, where are we? Okay, the Temple Mount here, what you see today and where Muslims built shrines on top of that it's the same basic platform as was there in New Testament times. All right, well, we're going to move away from that. I just happen to have this. I have a nice model of Lachish from the 8th century, except I guess I must have given them all away. But here's just the gate complex of Lachish, and so you can see a 6-chambered gate, where that would have been, and the walls and the ramp going up there. So if you've ever been there in Israel, you go, oh yeah, I've walked up that, at least part of that there. All right, let's scoot over here, something completely different. I've been dealing with issues of various ancient sites, and here, this is the fortress at Arad, and this is, if you're thinking yards, I'm guessing about 40 yards square. But if you've had a chance to visit this, then you've probably been to the Temple of the Lord. That's there. So you've got the, let's see, get my finger in there. So you got the outer court with an altar, and the inner court, and then the Holy of Holies. So this is one level of Arad. Over here, the Valley of Elah, there's a fortress just north, on the north side there, which is either from Saul's day or David's day. And this is what it would have looked like. Obviously, I don't have roofs on stuff, but so you can see the various walls, and the casemate situation of walls. Here, since Dr. Jenkins has done digging at, what is that, Tel Safi, probably Gath, his digging was like right here in the middle there. But so I made a model of that. I'd like to do some more work on that. This is just a test print of Megiddo. I'm not done. I definitely need to add the more complex gate situation up here. Once again, that's just kind of a draft thing. All right, well, let's move over to something else I've been doing an awful lot of. Let me adjust my light here. And these are inscriptions. Yes, so you have the sprite. No, that's not the one we want. Let's start off here with, this is the Mesha inscription, or the Moabite stone. And Moab, and you can, if you've messed with Paleo Hebrew, you can figure out that, ancient Moabite to Hebrew was about like the way people talk in Iowa compared to the way people talk in Arkansas. In other words, extremely closely related. Another monument here, this is the Merneptah Stela. Oh, there's different ways people pronounce that. And down here is, the detail came out amazing. Let's see, where is it? I think it's, now I'm trying to figure out where I am. Next to the bottom line, where does it start? I think it starts somewhere around here. But there's the famous thing where in, what is it, 13th or 14th century BC, that he mentions Israel. He was wrong about Israel is no more, but it's an ancient representation of that. Some more inscriptional stuff. These are just smaller versions of what I just showed you, although I'm getting a lot better at printing this, so even those are reasonably clear if you zoom in on them. And by the way, if you ever take a look at the hieroglyphics, or as I like to also call them, emojis, which I think is, we've gone way back technologically by using emojis and all those icons and stuff on our computer programs. But you can go here and you can actually make up some interesting stories if you want. You can decide what you want those things to mean. And you got various people doing different things, and animals. Oh, is that surrendering? Oh, or maybe he's praising the Lord. I don't know. Is that a representation of an ancient rubber duck? So you could make up your own stories here. And I know what it is. It's like, are you kidding me? That's what I think what that one in the middle right there means. So you could have a lot of fun with that sort of thing if you wanted. All right. Well, the Tel Dan inscription is something else. I've got flat versions of this, and I've got more three-dimensional ones. And right here, if you've learned Hebrew, you need to learn the Paleo Hebrew script. But they're right kind of in the middle of the screen there. It says Beit David, but above House of David. But right above that, you've got Melech Yisrael. That's the King of Israel. And so there's a whole bunch. If you know Hebrew, there's a lot of stuff that you would recognize. Now, a friend told me that, oh, look at that. The word cozy shows up in this, but that's not really what it is. It just looks like that going the wrong direction. Now here I was able to make a more three-dimensional version of it to add the thickness and stuff of this inscription that was found up at Dan. Way up north. Now the reality is the color of these inscriptions these are made out of black basalt, and so they would look actually a lot more like this, and this is a lot harder to read, but it's a good sample. So, but this color is just a lot easier to read. Let's see here. Oh, this is the actual size of the Gezer calendar. So it's able to make a Gezer calendar. Well, we'll get a little bit anachronistic here, out of order. This is the warning. This is a replica of the warning in Greek. Basically, Gentiles don't enter this part of the temple or we'll kill you. So it's nice of them to warn them. I did go ahead and made a couple of tablets, which, most of the time, if you see the Ten Commandments depicted, they show them shaped like this. I think that's highly unlikely. I think it's more likely that they were shaped more like this. So I tried to do a rough cut on the edge, and I did use the Paleo Hebrew script. Anoki Adonai Eloheka Asher Hotze. Yeah, okay. Anyway, yeah, I could have done a better print job on that, and I'll probably reprint it so it comes out a little bit better. Going to a different time period, we've got the Siloam inscription here. This is found in Hezekiah's water tunnel. This is just a flat thing where you can go, read it if you, once again, need to learn the Paleo Hebrew script. Here is trying to represent the stone a lot better, and my friend Patrick in Italy made that one. He tried to make it really clear for reading. I made a 3D version, which I think probably more accurately reflects what the actual rock that they cut out of Hezekiah's water tunnel looks like, but it's not as easy to read that. So that's that for inscriptions, at least that I have out right now. And let me go ahead and adjust my light here again. Here I made a model of Solomon's temple. Now, the central part here, this building, that was somebody else's model that I took, but then I modified it based on some scholarly information. I modified that, but then I built the environs here. The Bronze Sea, I took somebody else's on that and kind of modified the altar there. The basins there, I made those completely from scratch. We don't know exactly how large this complex was, but it appears to have had gates on north, south, and east. I decided that, well, 6-chamber gates seemed to have been popular around that time, so I was guessing. And then let's move over here, and you go, well, why is there a green version of Solomon's Temple? That's because I like the color green. I have printed some pink ones for people who like pink. Now here we've got the Ark of the Covenant, somebody's rendering of it. I did not design this model, I just printed it. And right now I need to replace those got all nice and warped. But let's move over here. This is a tabernacle model which I greatly modified. So, and I made it so that you can look out here and you go, well, that's awfully hard to see what's going on down there. Aha, but look at what I did. I made it so it'll pull off. And yeah, one of the poles fell off the Ark of the Covenant. Sorry about that. You've got the incense altar, the table of showbread, and the menorah there. All right, let's, what else do I have here? I've got super glue. Yeah, super glue is what you got to use if you're going to do any work on this stuff. This is a draft. I'm working on trying to make a larger New Testament version of the temple, but I'm having some technical problems. For some reason, no matter what I do, the pillars are just not coming out right. Oh well. But that's a draft version. Okay, let me move some stuff here, and we'll get to the next part of the tour. Hang on a second here. Let's. Fortunately, the tabernacle is mobile, so we can move the tabernacle. So is the Ark of the Covenant. And here, let's move this temple stuff here. This map is about 5 feet north to south. This is a map of, biblical Israel, Old and New Testament Israel, pretty much went from up there down to right around here. But since Edom gets mentioned, I did a little bit further south here. But the point of a lot of this is to try to convey aspects of the topography. So maybe you know this, but the Dead Sea here is lower than, it's about what, 1,300 feet below sea level. It's lower, than the Mediterranean here, and it's extremely obvious. You could, if you're looking at this in person, that's, oh, look at that, Jonah's fish. That's for students of mine. Let's take a look again from the south, looking north, and you could see the video here will show it. The valley here, the Jordan Valley, the Jordan River Valley, and way up north there, if I can make it focus on it, is Mount Hermon. Okay, Mount Hermon. For you normal English speakers there. Come on, focus, I said. All right. What to me is fascinating, you look at a lot of maps and you just don't pick up issues of the topography. And so like by the way, this map is marked up for Old Testament times. So here we have, here we have Moab. Now, I remember back in 1990 when I was here and we came up to, oh, come on, where are we? We came up to this point and I have photos taken from there, and, you know, it doesn't look like a line on a map. It looks like the Grand Canyon. And you have these massive, these massive canyons. Here's one here. Let me scoot over to, okay, so that this is the Wadi Zered, the other is the Arnon that we were looking at first, but you can see how those canyons provide quite the natural boundary for Moab. And then Edom is here down south of that. Bosra gets mentioned in the Bible. They like to build their towns on the tops of hills and cliffs. Read Obadiah and you'll know what I'm talking about there. All right, so let's go a little bit further. Oh, by the way, these tiles for this map are basically a typical tile is like 25 miles by 25 miles. So once again, a lot of what I'm trying to do here is really depict the topography, and sometimes it can sort of help the Bible come alive. Now, here, Mount Hermon, you can see that from almost anywhere in Israel, at least if it's not too hazy. And so from there, if you were there, you could see most of Israel. Okay, but you can sort of get an idea how that would work. Sea of Galilee here. The Jezreel Valley shows up, especially in a lot of stories in the book of Judges. Let me see if I can get around and get another angle on this. It's not zooming for me. Yeah, Jezreel Valley here. You've got this central ridge in Israel going up here. Shiloh is kind of is off the beaten path, which is to me is kind of interesting. Mount Ebal, Mount Gerizim, right here. Samaria is on a hill. Yeah, but anyway, so this really helps depict the topography, and for some stuff, I think it helps make Bible stories come alive. So, for instance, let's go here to Gilgal. Let me change my angle here. Let's go to Gilgal. So Gilgal is down near the Jordan. We're not exactly certain where it is, but I'm going to pick some spot, and people may debate a little bit. Go ahead, have your scholarly arguments about that. But Elijah and Elisha were at Gilgal. Elijah tells Elisha, "Stay here. I'm going to go to. I'm going up to Bethel." He goes, "Nope, I'm going with you." And so they walked. Let's see if you can sort of depict it. They walked uphill. Come on. I lost my spot here. Yeah, if we can see where it is. Come on. Let's back off my zoom, if it will let me do so. Okay, so they walked uphill. Oh, not there. They walked, come on. Okay, they walked uphill. I don't know, that's probably at least 15 miles uphill. And then Elijah tells Elisha, "Stay here, I'm going to Jericho." He goes, "Nope, I'm going with you." So they would have come down and gone along probably this road. So that was another probably at least 15 miles on foot downhill. Then he's like, "Well, stay here, I'm going to cross the Jordan." It's like, "Nope, I'm going with you." And so from here across the Jordan is a minimum like 6 miles. And so anyway, they probably walked a good 40 miles that one day. And I like to use the expression geographical exegesis, and this helps me see that Elisha really showed a lot of fortitude, a lot of commitment to Elijah, that he would go that far with him. Now here, let me bring up something else that occurred to me. So we've got this story in 2 Kings. You've got this woman from Shunem, and Shunem is at the bottom of the, not Mount Tabor, the Hill of Moreh here. I don't know if you can really tell that, but Elisha prophesies to her. She has a son. Then the son, my head, and he dies, and so the woman from Shunem is wanting to go see Elisha the prophet, who's over here on Mount Carmel, which is not one mountain, it's a range. Now, the distance from, let's say, here to here is probably a good 20 miles. And it's just kind of interesting to me that her husband says, Why do you want to go see the prophet? It's not a new moon or a Sabbath. Which tells you that at that time in the Old Testament, it was not seen to be a problem to travel 20 miles on a donkey on the Sabbath. Okay, times really changed. Now, another thing, a little bit further north here, Mount Tabor, so you've got this big plain here, and so you go to the time of Deborah, but this Mount Tabor, that's where Barak and his army, they mustered, or catch up. No, they mustered at Mount Tabor because the Sisera had, chariots that he could use down here in the valley. But chariots are pretty useless there, so it was a very safe place for them to go. Anyway, so that's just some more stuff here. The Sea of Galilee here, if you're talking New Testament times, let's see if I can make this look right. There's so the pigs rush down the hill into the lake, and so down the hill into the lake, and maybe I should make the Sea of Galilee line up a little bit better. All right, let's go over to some more stuff that I have done. Old and New Testament Israel pretty much cover the same territory, which is on, come on, zoom out, these 6 tiles here. I'll be honest, I'm not real fond of this color. I'm gonna remark it on more this color. It's a lot easier to see. But anyway, so this is old. This is marked up for Old Testament times, and I've got another one up here that I've marked for New Testament times. Now on that one, I didn't make the topography quite exaggerated enough to make it quite clear, so I've done more on more recent printings. So here you can see the topography a lot better. I just need to redo that on redo the markings of that on a map like this. Now here, these are pretty much unmarked. I have a version of this down here. I haven't marked up the water, so that's the Gulf of Aqaba. Yeah, anyway, there. Anyway, and so this is water here too. You can actually see going here, you can see how there's like there's a major fault line. It goes all the way down into Africa and comes up here, and it actually goes all the way up into Turkey. And of course, if you have a lot of faults, you have a lot of critics. I mean, you have a lot of earthquakes. And out here, this is water. That's the Mediterranean Sea there. Now, and once again, this is the part that really figures into the Bible a lot. Now, some of the Exodus and wilderness stuff figures into this more southern stuff here. All right, this just happens to be a, it's upside down. Let's try it again. This is a map I did that just really focuses on the Jezreel Valley. Okay, Sinai needs to be redone, but it just kind of shows rough guesses of where Israel was when they were wandering around the wilderness. Here I marked up the rough territories where the tribes were. Now, so, if you bear in mind modern Israel compared to ancient Israel, well, on the east bank in what's called the nation of Jordan, from here up here, all the way through here, all the way up there, that was Israel. So if Israel really had all of its old territory, then it goes not only the entire so-called West Bank, but includes a good chunk of the western part of Jordan. All right. Next. here, this is just marking up of the Sea of Galilee, and people go, well, why did you do it in green? Because it's pretty green up there. All right, let's go to the last, or next to the last thing. The traditional site of Mount Sinai would be here. I know that had to be right because I got really nice sunrise pictures when I was there. But I go, well, if that's the case, then that'd probably be the Valley of the Golden Calf right there. All right, the last thing I'm going to show you here is this is a replica of the Copper Scroll. So if you're trying to do massive fundraising, maybe you could use the information from the Copper Scroll, which appears to have information about, sort of encrypted information about where you can find temple treasuries. I'm going to guess the Romans probably found all the stuff because nobody else has, although people try to use this to do treasure hunts. And here, let me get the full length here. And so this scroll was made out of copper, and it's considered a Dead Sea Scroll because it is a Dead Sea Scroll, except it's in the land of Jordan in a museum there. I saw it when I was back there in 1990. And of course, Israel would love to have this, but Jordan does not wish to give it up. The actual thing is awfully thin. Come on. Awfully thin, and if you get at the right angle, you can read what is there in a Hebrew script. I actually did have somebody go, well, what, even though it's thin, you made it too thick. And, there are limitations when it comes to 3D printing. I did a test print of just a small section of this where it I think it tends to vary between 1/2 millimeter and 3/4 of a millimeter thick or something like that. And you just can't get any detail out there. So I made this, I think, 2 millimeters thick. And that's the way it goes. Well, I've also made smaller maps of Israel. I've done a lot of other kinds of things too. This one here is not marked up, but you can get an idea of issues of topography. I've not only been producing this stuff in English, but the New Testament map here with the greater topography view, and this map of Jerusalem. I've been producing this in Brazilian Portuguese, as well as the New Testament map, and also I've been doing the tabernacle here. I don't put any labels on that, but that's starting to make its way into various colleges in Africa. Well, there you have it. That's a tour of Bill's Museum of the Bible. I hope you enjoyed it. I need to add one little part to this, and if you are interested in being able to produce these models yourself, I've uploaded a lot of these to thingiverse.com, thingiverse.com. And if you're going to do marking on them, you need to use permanent markers, and if you make a mistake, alcohol works pretty good to get the permanent marker off. So far, the most popular download is actually the 10 Commandments in Paleo-Hebrew. The second most popular would be Jerusalem, but in Brazilian Portuguese. And so you could go there and you could look up Ugaritic, that's UGARITIC. If you look that up, that's my username handle on that website, and you can download the files to do most of these things for free there. Once again, this is Bill's Museum of the Bible by William P. Griffin, Ph.D., Professor Emeritus of Hebrew Bible at Evangel University.